So, we're trying to get to the bottom of this kind of programming the brain and getting things in there and internalising things and making things happen. I had a guy by the name of Clive Branson come to my office, and he had a lovely Welsh accent, and he says, "Hello, boyo." He said, "I understand you help people accomplish their goals." I said, "Well, that's right. I've got a bit of a track record in doing just that." He said, "Well," he said, "this is nothing to do with business, nothing to do with making money." He says, "I want to become world champion fisherman." He says, "I've come second, I've come third, I've come fourth, I've come fifth, I've come sixth." He says, "I've been at it years." He says, "I can't come number one, world champion." I said, "Well," I said, "you're talking to the right guy, because I think I'll probably help you." And it was a funny thing, because I agreed the fee with him, and he paid me right there and then. He says, "We'll do it." He says, "I've heard you've got a track record, pay you." I put the money in my pocket, and then I said, "You've got to know one thing, I don't know anything about fishing." I said, "But I know quite a bit about biocomputers." I said, "What I want to do is relax you and take you into an altered state of consciousness and give you some suggestions that I think are going to be very, very powerful for you and make something work." So I said, "Just close your eyes and relax." And I said, "We're going to go back to your house in Wales now." And I said, "We're going to put the key in the front door." And I said, "We're going to go into your living room." And I said, "On your mantelpiece in your living room," I said, "you've probably got a clock, a picture of grandma, some Christmas cards, a whole load of knickknacks." And I said, "This is what you've got to do." I said, "You put your hand at the end of the mantelpiece and go shh, like that." And he's kind of nodding off like this, just taking all this in, creating this image in his brain. And I said, "It'll all go crashing on the floor and end up in a big heap." And then I stopped talking for a bit, just letting him assimilate what I've told him. All goes crashing off, nothing there, empty mantelpiece. I said, "Now what you've got to do is just stare at that mantelpiece, get in your big easy chair that you got there in your living room, and stare at the mantelpiece. Just stare at it and start creating in your mind the big trophy that you're going to win as world champion fisherman." And I said, next to it, I said, there's a gold medal that's yay big, and you start visualising that. And for once in your life, see yourself as the world champion fisherman. And I said, what I'm going to tell you now, I talked to him for about an hour. I said, one of the things you've got to put in your mind is you've got to start doing all of the things that you haven't ordinarily done. All of the things. Whatever it takes to get that world championship, you start doing now all of the things that you've got to do to get that world championship. All of the things. And I talked to him like this for about an hour. Now, that was the end of the story. Fast forward now about a year, and I'm at the Rubens Hotel in Victoria, and I'm doing a seminar for the Apprentice Millionaires Club. I've got about 250 people there, and I'm just about to come up on the stage, and this lovely guy in the Welsh accent, "Hello, boyo, do you remember me?" And I said, "Well, I recognise the name." He says, "My name's Clive Branson, boyo." And he says, "I'm world champion fisherman." And he says, "I've got this gold medal." He said, "Do you mind if I get up on the stage and say a few words?" I said, "No, absolutely." So he got up on stage and he held up this big gold medal on a red ribbon, and he says, "Ron Holland helped me get this." And he says, "You might think he's a nutter," and he went on in his Welsh, but he says, whatever he tells you to do, he says, just do it. Because he says, within a year of having that consultation with Ron, I've accomplished my goal. And he says, I wouldn't have done it without it. It was big gold medal. Now, after the Apprentice Millionaires Club meeting, him and I went out to dinner that evening, and what he told me was something absolutely staggering. And he says, "Boyo," he says, "I want to tell you what has gone on in the last year since we met." He says, "I'm going to tell you," he says, "the words that rang over and over in my mind were do all of the things that you don't ordinarily do." And he says, "You told me you don't know anything about fishing." And I thought to myself, well, what is it that I've got to do to secure this world championship? And he says, "I know I'm a brilliant fisherman." So he says, I started thinking of all of the other things. And he says, "Do you know what came into my mind? How am I going to get to the events, to Portugal and all the places that I had to be?" And then I realised I needed a transporter. Oh, I need new tackle, I need this, I need airplane tickets, I need all of these things, I need resources, I need money. It's not just about fishing. All of those other things that I didn't ordinarily do, I started to do. And he says, I'm going to be honest with you, Ron, and this is what he told me. He says, I was so determined to follow through on what you told me. He says, I forget whether he sold his house or he mortgaged his house, but he got himself a huge amount of capital behind him to back up his world championship attempt. Right, so it was nothing to do with fishing, it was doing whatever it took to make that goal happen. Okay? Powerful, powerful technology. Okay? Now, the point that I've laboured there, you might not have picked it up, but I'm going to tell it to you. The point that I want to labour is that I took him into a state of hypnosis and I relaxed him and fed programs into his biocomputer below the threshold of consciousness with his RAS, his reticular activating system, deactivated. How many of you have heard of the RAS? Quite a few of you. Okay. The RAS is a tiny little thing about as big as my little finger in the top of the brainstem. So out of the 100 billion cells that we've got, 100 billion cells, the RAS is only that big, but it equates to 70%. Right? It's a massive, massive mechanism that does a huge, huge amount of work. So deactivating the RAS, taking yourself into that altered state, relaxing yourself before you do your visualizations and meditations is a crucial, crucial part of making things happen. And I know so many people try to put programs in their mind when they're not relaxed, and it doesn't work and it doesn't take. The RAS is a crucial, crucial part of what we're talking about. I want to give you one more example of somebody who I work with and made a huge amount of money. When I had Talk and Grow Rich turned into an audio book, I flew over to the Isle of Man, to a recording studio over there, to a guy called Mitch Murray. And Mitch, he had 6 #1 hits in the 60s. Very, very talented guy. And we did this recording of Talk and Grow Rich, an absolute brilliant job. He's an absolute perfectionist. And in the end, he read the whole book and he interviewed me on it, and it was fantastic. And I was there about a week doing this. And at the end of the week, he said, Ron, he says, I've got to ask you something. He says, I think, now I've got to know you and listen to your book, he said, I think you could help me. He said, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm living out here in the Isle of Man as a tax exile. He says, is there any way we can create an income stream for me being out here in the Isle of Man? Where can I get money from? He says, I'd like some money flooding in. I said, well, it's up to you. But I said, if you're up for me taking you into a state of hypnosis and making some suggestions, I said, I think we can crack that ever so quickly for you. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, like money flooding in. And that's what you want. And then he said, yeah. I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm here in the Isle of Man, where can I get money from in the Isle of Man? You know, it's a place for money people, but I need money coming in now. You know, you can imagine, can't you? So I said, oh, okay. So I said, lay on your bed. And I said, relax. And I said, let me just talk to you for about an hour. Just a load of nonsense. And I'm just going to give you some ideas. And his RAS was what? Deactivated. Deactivated. So I'm getting below the threshold of consciousness. And I said, look. I said, you've got to understand, over on the mainland, I said, there's so much money. It's incredible. Right? And I said, I want you to have this vision of people sending over cheques, cash in envelopes, Visa, MasterCard, money flooding in. And I said, the funny bit about it is, I said, I don't know why they're going to do this for you. And I said, at this moment in time, I said, you don't know either. But I said, that's not the important thing. People are going to start sending you money. Tons of it, every week. Money in the post, money, flooding in. Cash, cheques, Visa, MasterCard, flooding in. I'm talking to him. He's like stark as hell. Snoring at me. Not snoring, but he's gone. And I'm just plugging all this stuff in, and I didn't know where the money was coming from, but I'm hammering it in there. Checks are coming over, money's coming over. And I said, there's something in your brain that will tell you this simple little idea of why people should suddenly start sending you money. And I said, your subconscious knows that. And I said, I'm just going to help you connect the unconnectable, make that connection for you, and that money is going to start flooding in.